Hello, I'd like to talk a bit today to all of you who are church planters or those who are involved in leadership of churches. And I'd like to talk about how do we maintain and how do we keep our eyes fixed upon building a local church or starting a local church and continuing with the vision that God has called us to. Say that with an apostolic team and having clear vision and knowing that God has called and directed to do something has been so helpful. It has kept us, and here we are over 10 years now, still going strong, and that has been in part because we have kept to the vision that God has given. And we really have to ask, what does God want in a church? You know, in the Old Testament, God wanted a tent of meeting, a physical tent. And the Shekinah glory of God came to a tent made of stretched leathers. Now the latter temples were far more grandiose and wonderful, and there are different points in the history of the temple in Jerusalem when it has been more grandiose than others. But where's the Shekinah glory of the Lord? Why, the Lord's glory is where God chooses to put it. And if God chose to put it into a tent, in a tent it goes. Who are we to decide how his church should look when he has given clear guidance to each of us as church planters and apostolic teams with vision? My encouragement would be to strongly stick with the vision that God has given you. Try not to be sidetracked onto fads and fashions that seem to give a great sense of possibility and fruit. In the short term, those things may work. They may work well in other places, but the question is, do they fit with the vision that your church has and had? Because if they don't, probably we don't want to be doing them. I would just encourage us, each one, to really look to plant apostolically founded churches which have God's breath upon them and the prophetic actually there, because God speaks through prophets, through men and women, godly men and women, and there is great encouragement. Everyone's part of the vineyard is different. Your job is to understand the soil and the gradient and the topography of the spiritual place that God has put you in, and to grow vines according to what God has called you to do. That will be different from the person down the road or the person up the road. So just encourage you to keep and lay hold on what God has put in your heart, and to not be moved nor swayed by the fads and fashions that are all around us.